LeBron's 8th straight trip to the finals was clinched on Sunday. Game 1 not until Thursday, so some much-deserved time to recover following what was an epic run through the East. Game Time is on the air. That's the czar, Mike Fratello. He's Steve Smith. I'm Jared Greenberg. Monday, LeBron's opponent was to be determined because for the first time since 1979, both conference finals went 7 games, but never have both teams reached the finals by each winning Game 7 on the road in the conference finals. Cleveland did it in the East. Could Steve Kerr's squad do it in the West? Well, James Harden trying to send the Rockets to the finals for the first time since '95. Kevin Durant and the Warriors without Andre Iguodala, but bigger for the Rockets. No Chris Paul for a second straight game. Guys, the likely MVP of the regular season, James Harden, scored 8 of Houston's first 10 points and got Klay Thompson in foul trouble.
Well, he was fantastic, as you can see, being able to knock down this three, and you said it best. Got Klay into foul trouble, and he had himself a first quarter.
Yeah, Golden State was a nightmare. They couldn't make a shot. Defensively, they were very poor, and obviously Houston got off to a quick start.
Yeah, Harden had 14 over the first 12 minutes of the game. Now, Coach Kerr called it the first quarter one of the worst quarters of basketball he's ever played with Golden State. Here is Clint Capella, and then Eric Gordon, 6:43 to go in the second quarter. The Rockets hit their 6th three of the game. They're up by 14. Steve Kerr, none too pleased. And then here comes more from James Harden, coach.
Harden knew that he had a big responsibility on his shoulder tonight. His partner was not going to be there, Chris Paul. He had to find a way to get them to win their 4th game.
Heavyweight battle. You know there'd be some blood, huh? James Harden be okay after the nosebleed. 48-33. Now in the second quarter,
what a pass!
Harden to Capella.
I mean, James Harden being able to draw the defense, and it wasn't a lob around the back to Clint Capella, and he finishes with the left.
Capella had 20 points in the game, huge factor, especially in the first half. Final seconds, more effort and hustle plays from Houston. They just wanted it more in the first half.
It's just one of those things where Steve Kerr must have gone in trying to pull his hair out at halftime here. You let a guy go the length of the court in 4 seconds for a score.
So Houston up 11 at the half. They would build a 13-point lead early in the third quarter, but then, of course, it's the third quarter, coach. So Golden State goes on a 29-7 run.
Once one of them started making shots, then it just seemed to become infectious, led by Curry. Then all of a sudden Durant gets going, and then when they bring Thompson back into the fold,
Jordan Bell, Smitty.
Hey, Jordan Bell, the rookie, played some really solid minutes for them, and going through his leg with a nice little pick to Steph.
You like this?
I like it. The young fella taking some chances.
Curry had just 8 points in the first half, 14 in the third quarter alone. And then Houston would get ice cold from 3.
What's beyond ice cold?
Yeah, I was about to say you got to come up with a better word than that, Jerry.
No pulse for 3.
Yeah, I know.
In the third quarter, the magic continued for the Warriors.
Oh!
Curry from way downtown. The Warriors outscored the Rockets 33-15 in the third. Curry had 27 in the game, up by 7, heading to the fourth. James Harden's pass intercepted by Curry, and on the other end, the other half of the Splash Brother from downtown.
Well, you can see Klay got out and ran the court. He was in foul trouble, came in that fourth quarter. He was fresh, and this one was huge. I mean, James Harden, good defense, but that's 7 feet Kevin Durant shooting over.
Now, guys, remember that drought from three-point territory? 27 in a row the Rockets missed. That's an NBA playoff record. P.J. Tucker ends it. Now, during the Rockets' three-point record-setting drought, Golden State outscored Houston by 27. The Rockets started the game 6 of 14 from downtown, but over the next 24-plus minutes of game time, the Warriors would hit 13 of 23, while the Rockets went 0 for 27. More on that in a moment. The Warriors just punishing the Rockets. Durant and Steph combined for 61 points.
Great pass, and Kevin Durant had his way in the fourth quarter. Did a nice job of being able to not bang in the post, to shot over the smaller defenders.
Klay Thompson takes it away from Harden. Here comes Draymond, and it's setting up Warriors Cavs Part 4. The number 1 seed in the West gets knocked off in 7 by the champs.
48 minutes. It lasts a long time, and there's so many opportunities to get yourself going as a team. And you know, with our team, there's just so much firepower that at some point we're going to get going.
One half of basketball. 2 games. Game 6 and 7. One half of basketball. We just didn't have the same energy that we had in that first half, our pace. So it's extremely frustrating.
This is a special moment. This is we talked about it leaving this building after Game 5. This was a a part of our story that we hadn't been through before. Our backs against the wall, not having home court advantage, needing to win 2 games to keep ourselves alive.
And then what gets us going is Steph's offense and Steph's high screens and three-point shots off those screens. For whatever reason, he seems to infuse us with energy. Kevin keeps us going with his just methodical scoring. But when Steph and Clay get it going from 3, that's when our team really seems to take off.
Talk more about just how bad Houston was from downtown in a moment, but more about what Steve Kerr just said there. It seems as if, with all of these all-star and future Hall of Fame players, Coach Fratello, that Steph Curry is the one that knows how to push the buttons of this team.
It's because of the style of play that he has. He does something that every guy who's undersized looks at him and says, I could probably reach the basket from that far away. And then suddenly you realize you can't reach the basket from that way. And he makes it look like it's a layup, and he's 4 feet behind the three-point line. He captivates everybody. He's got his ball handling routine. All the little kids back home are working on that. And then you come down and he lets it fly, and he makes them. And he makes it look easy.
It's incredible what he's able to do. But is it also a bit concerning as we move forward? And we're going to talk about the Cavs and Warriors in our next segment. But why does it take till third quarter for this team to get going?
Well, I think for them, Kevin Durant said it best. He said, just a little bit we took the Rockets a little bit lightly. And I think for them, those guys get a chance to come in, and that's when you have great team and great chemistry. You trust each other. You can tell they're in their locker room. They're being able to talk it out with the coaching staff. Steve Kerr is making adjustments. They come out, and then they just start to wear on you, Coach. But when you have 3 guys that can score that way, and they come out in this third quarter, and particularly this one, you look at Steph. Boy, did he have it going on, Coach. I mean, knocking down shots, and the way he was doing it, you can see he had a rhythm going to Jordan Bell. Sets the screen, they get the switch they want. And, oh, by the way, Ryan Anderson, feel bad for you, knocks this one down. 14 points in that one, and I like this one. This one's deep. This was where he's just going for it. He's trying to put the dagger in the Houston Rockets. You talking about 14 points, but he also had 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And this one right here, Stephen Curry, obviously dribbling, but being able to stop on a dime, Coach, and knock down shots. 5 or 6 in that quarter, but he's also 4 or 5 behind the line. But I just love that you can add now 6 rebounds. He has steals, and he has assists. He's doing more than just knocking down those big-time threes.
Let's also remember that Golden State said after the game, we expected them to come out and try and deliver an early blow in their own building. So you compound the effort and defense of Houston, and Steve Kerr said their defense was outstanding to start the game out. They really got up into them. So they shoot 7 of 20 and just 2 of 10 from the three-point line to start out. Yet it was still just a 5-point game at the end of the first quarter.
Right. That's why Steve Kerr said it was bizarre at halftime when he was looking around at this group, didn't recognize his team. Now, Steph Curry, by the way, when the team is 5-1 this postseason, when he scores 25 or more, and he scored a lot from downtown. The Rockets not only missed 27 in a row at one point in the game, a new NBA record, but also set an NBA playoff record, missing 37 total threes for the game. Steve Kerr mentioned, Coach, that fatigue could be a factor. Did you notice that? Was this kind of playing into Golden State's hand, even though they fell behind by 15?
Well, look, when you play only 6 people, and it's as demanding as it is trying to guard Golden State. Golden State's not an easy group to guard. They're pushing it back at you every opportunity. They're moving bodies every opportunity, and they move the ball every opportunity, which means you're constantly occupied. You constantly have to be, your intensity has to be there. You can't lose focus and concentration. Well, it's also taking its toll. Then you're only playing 6 guys. That's a tough thing to do.
Incredible that this team was so prolific on offense. The Rockets just seemed to, you said, go worse than ice cold.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for them, no Chris Paul, but obviously they missed some shots that they had made in some other games. But I think he was taking so much out of Trevor Ariza. He has to guard Grant. And then you see P.J. Tucker at his size. He had to rebound and bang with those guys. So those guys couldn't make threes. And I think the game plan for the Golden State Warriors were, we're going to take the airspace from Eric Gordon. Even though he hit some tough shots in the first half, we're going to make him drive and make plays. And I think it just wore down on them. And give the Warriors a lot of credit, Coach. They scored 33 points in that third quarter, but they also only gave up 15 points and only 38 points in the entire second half. I think defensively, we don't talk about them enough.
No, we don't. And the last, when you go back, let's make it a 4-season run now, they're 1, 2, 3, or 4 defensively in the NBA.
James Harden, 32 points on 29 shots in 43 minutes without Chris Paul, as you said. So it is the Warriors, it is the Cavs, part 4. First time, though, both teams reached the NBA Finals in the history of the league by both winning Game 7 on the road, setting up very familiar NBA Finals. And again, this NBA Finals will be dominated by star power.
We've been leading up to this now for an entire season.
Live from the finals. Good to have you with us.
What's your takeaway from this?
Take care of the basketball.
Instant analysis.
They're not moving the ball. They're not setting up.
Open the court for him.
What do you tell your team about the opportunity at hand?
Just hang in there and just play your game.
We got to take it one game at a time.
Bound to get scrappy eventually.
I want to bring a championship to the city.
Be a champion and the finals MVP is what you dream about as a kid.
Catch all the finals action starting May 30th on NBA TV.
That's Wednesday. Next up here on Game Time, we know LeBron has superpowers, but do they include a kryptonite for taking down this version of the Warriors? And later on, Rockets GM Daryl Morey said beating the Warriors was the only thing he thought about this season. So after earning the top seed in the West, why couldn't the Rockets close out the champs?
Upper team. Hart steps back, fires. Go! James Harden is the new star. One-game champion for the Houston Rockets and Calvin Murphy on his feet. 60 points. Harden is the 25th player in NBA history with a 60-point game.
Oh, man, Hart. Oh, he stared at Wesley Johnson, and then he hit the three. Wow. He put him on the deck. Takes it, gets it. Capella for the slam.
Capella was saying the other day, it's been a magical ride for this young man.
Paul over to Ariza and find it dropping. He's got it tonight.
Chris Paul has been everything the Rockets had hoped he would be.
And the Houston Rockets are going to win their 65th game. Best record in the NBA. Durant shoots and hits. The 65-win Rockets are not ball.
Well, the Houston Rockets set the franchise mark with 65 wins this year, and they set an NBA record with more than 1,200 three-pointers made during the regular season, but it will be the 37 threes that they missed in Game 7 that will be talked about all summer long as the Rockets season comes to an end and the Warriors advance to the NBA Finals.
They presented a tough challenge for us, and we knew that coming into the series it was going to be rough. After we won Game 1, I'm sure we relaxed just a little. And then after Game 2, they slapped us in the mouth, and that's what woke us up a bit. So I got nothing but respect for the Rockets and what they've done all season. I know they have bigger dreams of winning the finals and going to the finals and winning.
You know, hats off to them, but I think we're very close, obviously. And, you know, some things we'll tweak, and we'll get back on the horse, and we'll get these guys here pretty soon.
All right, guys, Daryl Morey said it back in December that they are basically obsessed figuring out how to beat the Warriors. Steve, what happened here where they were the best team in basketball up until Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals?
Well, obviously, at the end, the Golden State Warriors was a little bit better than them, but they took them to a Game 7, the Houston Rockets, and they have to be proud. I mean, you have the MVP, in my opinion, James Harden. You have Clint Capella, who's improved so much, Coach, and then they were able to play defense, and that's where you look at when Mike D'Antoni teams, you know they can score, but they were able to compete on the defensive end. And then, unfortunately for them, Chris Paul, who I thought was having a fabulous playoff series, versus the Golden State Warriors, could have been that key guy to get them over the hump. He got injured, it didn't happen. They still got to Game 7, so I think they should keep their heads up. They had a phenomenal year, and James Harden had a phenomenal year.
They corrected what some of the problems were from a year before. The first thing, they brought in some toughness. You had Bob Moute, P.J. Tucker, some tough guys, tough-minded guys. Add them to Nene. Okay, Ariza in his own right has that toughness about him. So that was a good move in that direction. Then they named Jeff Bzdelik, okay, the associate head coach, basically in charge of the defense for them. And he did an excellent job of changing the mentality. They were a much, much improved defensive team. They won the most games in the NBA this year.
A lot going to be talked about this summer. Obviously, they'll be in the mix with LeBron James with all those rumors.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I bet they will be. Chris Paul, Capella, Ariza, all free agents this upcoming summer. We got much more coming up from Game 7 as we will look back at the first 3 versions of Cavs Warriors in the NBA Finals to get you set for Part 4. Well, LeBron James, pretty incredible. And now for the 4th straight year, he'll face the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. Remember, he beat them back in 2016. This will be LeBron's 9th overall appearance in the finals and his 8th consecutive. Now, according to Elias, no one in playoff history with a minimum of 10 games played has created as many points per game during a postseason run as LeBron's nearly 55.5 per game, which that accounts for points scored and the assists that he has dished out. Guys, LeBron's got this version of the Warriors, and it's going to be another fascinating matchup. But, coaches, you see LeBron every day covering the Cavs. What did you see from him in this series against the Celtics that you take moving forward into the finals against Golden State?
Well, there were so many things because he did not know how the supporting cast was going to react. Now, starting from the first round where they barely got by Indiana in a 7-game series as well and started out getting blown out in their own building to start that series. So after that, they come back and then incredibly sweep the Toronto Raptors, yet it was a basket here and a basket there. That should have been or could have been a 2-2 series very easily, going back for game number 5, but instead it wound up being the sweep. So he comes into that Boston series, and I don't know if this was part of it, but there was one guy sitting at the end of the Boston bench in street clothes that maybe was a little bit of motivation for LeBron James to win the series against the Celtics. He used to be in a Cavs uniform.
So you're saying Kyrie Irving?
Well, just think about it. He wanted out. He didn't want to play anymore with the Cavaliers. He wanted to be and have his own team. And LeBron, he's one of those guys that something drives him. Right. Maybe the point that drove him was, you don't want to be here in Cleveland with us? Well, guess what? We're going on to the finals now.
Well, remember back a couple of years ago, back in 2015, LeBron's first run with this stint of the Warriors, Kyrie got hurt in Game 1 in the NBA Finals against Golden State. How do you see this matchup? So much is made of the others. Can Cleveland keep up with how many stars the Warriors have?
Well, if you want to start talking about star for stars, I would say no, Cleveland loses that battle. But we understand this is a team game. And I think for the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're going to have to do things to control the pace, obviously. Then they do have a guy in LeBron James that can control that pace and also control the game. For him, it's going to be, I think, what he does defensively and also rebounding the basketball. The Cavs must rebound the basketball. And then I think for them is guys, when they get open shots, the J.R. Smiths, the Kyle Korvers, and you saw Jeff Green, they can make open shots that give themselves a chance.
Do you think it's realistic we'll see LeBron play 48 minutes a night?
Well, I don't know if he'll play 48, but I think he'll be high 40s. Yeah. I think T. Lue can't afford not to have him on the floor. It's just how much energy he's going to have to, I guess, Coach, give out before he can get to crunch time. And can they keep it close when he takes those breaks?
You cannot have a player or two players on your team that do not pay the price at the defensive end and have a chance of beating Golden State. It has to be a 5-man commitment on the floor to have a chance against them.
It all gets going on Thursday. Remember our coverage.
Looking forward to it.
And the ATV. We're live out in the Bay Area.
We're live,
starting
Jared.
Wednesday. As Golden State sends Houston home, the obsession with beating the Warriors did not become a reality.